Welcome to another episode of The Blank Canvas, a project brought to you by Plinko Solutions, focused on AI and accessibility, really building business infrastructure in real time, building in public. So today's an exciting one. I've really been dialing in on this kind of like packaging stuff and like the content side of things. But I know a lot of you folks come here to really understand what is the business really about. So yesterday, I dove into the lean canvas, the actual inner workings of how the thing works, how the business profits, how it creates value in real time. And a large part of that is bridging the arbitrage, the difference for how well people can design with AI to enhance or improve business operations. So that happens both in sales, marketing, as well as finance and operational logistics, all of that. One helpful kind of mechanism for talking about it is understanding this term of operating profit. So service-based businesses, they typically call this net new revenue. This is basically the money they see after paying everything else. So this money that exists, you as a service provider working with another service provider, you're able to then create an offer, create a proposition that basically if you're affecting the revenue that you're driving, you can charge a percentage of that return back to you. And if you do this right, if you articulate this right, you can actually change things for people. So let me map this for you. So anytime that I'm talking to a service-based business, I'm trying to really understand the cost of goods sold, right? What is actually happening within the business? How are they making money? And a large part of the audit and discovery is asking those right questions. There are approaches to doing this, and I'm excited to kind of map through and talk about them. It's very industry specific, right? So if you're not familiar with the workings of an industry and business and domain, you probably can't service them, which is reasonable to think of. But if you are familiar, you have an advantage of being able to communicate the inner happenings of it. So what does that look like? If it's a real estate firm, there's a cost per lead, right? Cost of acquisition, right? Are they paid ads? Is it social media building? Is it door to door? Is it calling? Is it like, what is the act that is generating leads for them, right? If it's let's say coaching or consultant business, the ability to actually find people that need your help is highly contextual to your ability to propose solutions. So for you to not even just that, let me take 2 steps back there. For coaching and consulting, you're looking for people that are constantly dealing with the same type of problem, right? Because of that, that gives you specific knowledge and domain understanding for that. So for example, if it's lead generation, it's how well can you broadcast and bridge copy to somebody and bridge offer to somebody in a way that will help them. Your ability to convey that to a business is the power of a consultant, the power of a coach, right? If that's not your domain, that's not your bread and butter, you're like, okay, I run a wellness studio, right? Like if that's the case, right? If you're a spa, your approach can be this. The problem that you're trying to solve is contextual to the solution that you're offering, right? So if it's massages, right? You're looking for people that are sore and have muscle body pain, probably athletes, probably, high performing, even like students, things like that. Jobs that have employees that are under constant physical stress will likely benefit from a massage. That's massages. If you're a wellness studio that offers saunas and ice baths, you're looking for athletes, you're looking for performance engineered people, salespeople perhaps, because they're, very much mentally constantly on a stream. So being able to ground and have that sort of holistic feeling of their nervous system kind of recalibrating is really important. Those are examples, right? So extrapolating decently enough. From there, they pay. The business, if it is a reasonable one, will take that new revenue that comes in and will pay the people that were responsible or pay the materials, right? The actual logistics, the actual supply chain that's responsible for this. So salaries, things like that. I will say sometimes salaries, depending on who you're talking to, may look like operating expenses. It's just the nature of business. Accounting has the same term for the same stuff. End of the day, you're looking at essentially, well, you're not necessarily looking at, you're understanding how they distribute gross profit and how they distribute that amongst their operating expenses. Another term for that is OPEX, so OP, operating, EX, expenses. And you're basically saying, okay, after you pay everybody that needs to be paid, right? What is your operating profit, right? This term can also be net revenue. What is left over, right? To ask those questions requires you to have built trust. And the way you build trust is showing your understanding of these domains. That's the sauce. So the questionnaire, the purpose of it is to funnel people through this and showcasing that in real time. So this is a really cool little kind of mechanism. Used it today on the Citizen Developer podcast talking about Upwork. And I figured it's worth sharing because, like my conversations, I would like to be specifically focused on operating profit. How can you use the money that you're generating to generate more money, right? And that's by actually putting it behind systems, by actually paying for things, investing in the business in a way that scales the systems. To do that with a wide net and direct focus is an art, right? Because you're casting a wide net up here to field the questions, but you're also directly focused on what are they spending money on to help them grow and the decision making that's going on behind that, because there's a lot of strategic elements involved in that. So with that being said, there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning that kind of comes in this process when you're in consultative sales. And that's the nature of selling AI. When you're selling AI and making money with it, the nature of your sales cycles is this sort of like consultative sales. It's your ability to conduct a thorough audit and discovery of their problems, and then anchor and label those problems with the solutions that you're providing. It's an art, it's a muscle, it's something I myself am refining day in and day out as I do these demos and talk about it in real time. Because you have to balance those conversations, as complex as they sound. It's the sales muscle that you're developing. As you have those difficult conversations, you develop enough resistance to the friction that you feel emotionally when you deal with people, trying to understand how they think, how they operate, how they work. That's the key. So that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one.